Hook. A public playground is supposed to be a place of carefree fun for children and a brief respite for their parents. But what happens when that peace is shattered by a stranger's suspicion? Imagine being watched, confronted, and then publicly accused of being a kidnapper. And then comes the unbelievable demand. Prove that the child by your side is actually yours, or have the authorities called. Story. It was a typical weekday afternoon. After a long day at work, a father decided to take his 5-year-old son to the local playground to burn off some energy. The park was alive with the usual sounds: the squeak of swings, the rumble of slides, and the laughter of children. It was busy, filled with parents watching from benches as their kids swarmed the equipment. Our storyteller's son made a beeline for the climbing structure. He was at that age of fearless exploration, and his father stood close by, keeping a watchful eye. It was then that he noticed her. A woman he'd never seen before was also watching his son, but her gaze was different. It was intense, unwavering, following the little boy's every move. He tried to dismiss it, but the feeling of being scrutinized was unsettling. A few minutes later, his son scampered over for a sip of water. As if on cue, the woman marched directly toward them. She stood with her arms crossed, her expression a mask of stern disapproval. "Is that your child?" she asked, her tone sharp. He confirmed that, of course, the boy was his son. "Well," she said, without missing a beat, "he keeps cutting in front of my daughter. You need to control him." The father, wanting to keep the peace, told her he would speak with him. He knelt down and had a quiet word with his son. "Hey buddy," he said gently, "make sure you're waiting your turn, okay?" The boy nodded, took another gulp of water, and ran back to play. The father thought that was the end of it. A simple playground misunderstanding, quickly resolved. He was wrong. About 10 minutes passed. He saw the woman approaching again, and this time her pace was faster, her face flushed with anger. She was speaking louder now, loud enough for others to hear. "Your son just pushed my daughter," she announced. The father looked from the woman to the two children. His son was small for his age. Her daughter appeared to be older and was certainly bigger. A push seemed unlikely, but not impossible in the chaos of a playground. He called his son over and asked what happened. The boy explained that the girl had been blocking the ladder, so he simply went around her, perhaps bumping her by accident on his way past. It sounded plausible. Still, to de-escalate the situation, the father turned to the woman and offered an apology. "I'm sorry if he bumped her," he said. "Playground stuff happens." But his apology didn't pacify her. It seemed to fuel her fire. She took a step closer, lowering her voice to a conspiratorial, accusatory whisper. "I don't think he's even yours," she said. "I haven't seen you here before." The father was so taken aback by the absurdity of the statement that he laughed. It wasn't a laugh of amusement, but of pure disbelief. His reaction only seemed to solidify the woman's suspicion. "You need to show proof that he's your kid," she demanded, her voice rising again. "Or I'm calling someone. People kidnap kids from parks all the time." Now, you might be thinking, what proof could he possibly offer? A birth certificate? A family photo? The demand was so outrageous, so far beyond the bounds of normal social interaction, that he was momentarily stunned into silence. By now, the commotion had drawn the attention of other parents. Heads were turning. Conversations paused. His son, sensing the tension, looked up at him with wide, worried eyes, as if he'd done something terribly wrong. "Lady," the father said, his patience finally gone, "I am not showing you anything. Back off." Just then, his son walked a little closer to him, seeking comfort. In a shocking move, the woman reached out and tried to grab the little boy's wrist, as if to detain him. That was the line. Instinct took over. The father snapped, pulling his son behind him, creating a firm barrier with his own body. "If you touch him again," he said, his voice low and serious, "I'm calling the police." The instant she was met with real consequences, her entire demeanor shifted. The aggressor became the victim. She threw her hands up in the air, crying out, "See? He's so aggressive. This is suspicious behavior." She turned to the growing audience of parents. "A real parent would understand my concern for safety." The situation hung in a tense stalemate until another man, a dad who had been watching from a nearby bench, finally spoke up. "He's been here the whole time with his kid," the man said to the woman, his tone firm but calm. "You need to calm down." She whirled on him. "You're enabling him," she shrieked, but her support was gone. Realizing she had lost the crowd and would get no further, she grabbed her own daughter by the hand and stormed away, shouting over her shoulder that the entire park was unsafe. The tension broke, but the damage was done. In the car on the way home, the park fading in the rearview mirror, his son's small voice broke the quiet. "Daddy," he asked, "did that lady think you stole me?" The question landed like a punch, and the father was filled with a profound sense of disgust. A day that was supposed to be about fun had been poisoned by a stranger's bizarre and hostile fantasy. Verdict: while vigilance in a public space with children is understandable, this situation was a staggering overreach. The woman's behavior escalated from a minor playground dispute to a public accusation of kidnapping with alarming speed. Demanding proof of parentage is not a reasonable request, it's an aggressive and baseless interrogation. The moment she attempted to physically grab the child, she crossed a definitive line, transforming from a concerned parent into a potential threat herself. The father's response was not aggression, it was the justified, protective action of a parent defending his child from a stranger's frightening behavior. But we want to know what you think. Was this a case of a parent's concern gone dangerously wrong, or was there something more unsettling at play?